Hi everyone. I'm having quite a bit of difficulty with my camera today, but see, my camera's kind of jumpy, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. Not exactly sure what's going on, but hopefully I'll be able to get through this video. I'm sorry I haven't been around, but I've had issues with my camera, and I've had issues with my internet connection. So, we'll see how well this happens, this occurs. We'll see. Um, I've missed you guys, and I wanted to share with you a maiden meditation that is sort of based off of, I springboarded off of Wicca A Year and a Day by Timothy Roderick, but it is not really the maiden meditation that is found in the book. But I did want to say that this is inspired by Wicca A Year and a Day by Timothy Roderick, and his maiden meditation. Okay, well, I really don't know why, but my camera's really jumpy. I'll see if I can't fix that later. Okay, so with this maiden meditation that's sort of similar to Wicca Year and a Day meditation, maiden meditation, first I always start with, of course, you sit down somewhere. It's best to do this outside if you can. Really best to do this outside if you can. I did this outside in my backyard. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to a forest or meadow or some place far away. You can just do this on your front porch if you want to, or in your backyard if you have one. Or you could do this in a park or wherever. You can, I would suggest that you sit down actually on the ground, on the grass or in the dirt. So wear something that you don't mind getting at least a little dirt on. I went in my backyard and sat in the grass. It was soft enough, and it wasn't there wasn't lots of dirt or things that I needed to worry about getting my clothes all dirty. But I wouldn't mind doing that either. So I sat down in my backyard, and my backyard is full of little tiny purple violet creeping vines all over the backyard, and just happens to be my favorite color and my favorite flower, purple violets, just creeping everywhere. My backyard is just full of them, so I felt pretty at home. So I sat down, closed my eyes, take in a few relaxing breaths. You don't really have to control your breath like some people do, counts for breaths. You'd breathe in maybe 1, 2, 3 when you're breathing in, and then breathe out maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then breathe back in 3. People do different counts for their breaths, but you don't have to do any of that. You can just be aware of your breathing. Just breathe naturally and be aware of the air that goes into your body and goes out of your system. And then, once you're kind of relaxed in your own body, in your own breathing pattern, have your eyes closed. I go, in my mind, visualizing to a specific place I call my house or my landscape. For this particular meditation, I chose to visualize a place that's familiar to me. It's a white stone cottage, or light gray stone cottage. I think it's white stone, really. It's kind of got an old feeling to it, so the stone's kind of worn and stuff. But anyway, I call it my house. I do witchy stuff there. Actually, I haven't been there in my mind in that space for a while, so when I got there, things were a little bit cluttered, a little bit dark in there, a little bit little bit not used, a little bit empty feeling. So I had to do some cleaning up in that area before I did anything else. But for you, you might imagine that you are in a castle or your own house. You can envision yourself inside your own home in your mind. Or you could envision like really any place, a cave, any place that is a shelter or a house to you. Um, a cave, a tree house, that would be fun. A library even, just some place that you can go to that is your space in your own mind. So I started there, and like I said, I had to clear out some stuff to begin with. And then once I'm in there, I do whatever work needs to be done in that space, and then I go outside, and I am in like a garden area, and then a little bit further from there is like this open meadow area, and there's a river, and there are mountains way in the background. Sometimes I go there into the caves to speak with the crone or grandmother or the dark maiden. Those are always really intense meditations, but that's really not what we're talking about right now. So in my mind, I'm already outside physically, but in my mind, I go into my house, and then I go out the front door and into this meadow clearing area past my garden, and I am sitting down in this meadow, and it's got all kinds of flowers everywhere. And while I am there, both in my mind and vocally, I am saying the name of the goddess that I want to work with. You might just say Maiden, Maiden, Maiden. I would do it in multiples of 3 or 5. That's just me personally. You don't have to pay any attention to that at all. That's just something that I do. So I worked with Aine, so I said Aine, 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 and then I'd pause, and then I'd say Aine, 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 and I did that. I lost count of how many times I did that before I got into a sort of in-between state of mind. It's like, for me, it's not like a very deep meditative state where you experience out-of-body experience, but for me, it's sort of like a half-sleep state. Like you're kind of sleepy, but you're aware of everything that's going on around you. Or like when you first begin to wake up in the morning, you kind of hear the stuff that's going on around you, but you're just waking up, you're not fully clear-headed, you're not fully awake. So I got into sort of that kind of sleepy state, but I wasn't sleeping. And then after a short time after that, I saw this goddess figure, very tall woman, very slender. I guess I would describe her as a giantess. She was much bigger than a human being. Generally tends to be like maybe 12, 14 feet tall. It's really big woman, and she filled up my inner field of vision, and she had red hair, long red hair, a bit longer than mine. Mine's really like shoulder length, so hers probably went down her back, like maybe under the breastbone. Yeah, and okay, she had also a long dress on with a long skirt, and she would twirl around in circles and dance, which is, I found, typical of Aine. Aine is a Celtic Irish goddess. Sometimes a maiden goddess, sometimes a mother goddess, sometimes dark maiden. I have worked with her as dark maiden before, but for this, she was more of her springtime maiden light aspect. Anyway, so she's there, and she's kind of like twirling around in circles, dancing, and she like throws or tosses, not really, she doesn't really like throw things at me, but she tosses flower blossoms on me. um, in the original meditation, the goddess hands you like a bouquet of flowers or individual flowers, but Anya decided it was a good idea to shower me, literally shower me in different kinds of blossoms. The first one that I saw in my mind's eye was apple blossoms, and then there were all kinds of white and yellow blossoms. There were first, like I said, apple blossoms, and that was like the very first thing. And then there was almond blossoms and gardenias and magnolias. Sorry, forgot how to say that word. Magnolias, night jasmine or night blooming jasmine, a few other, but they were mostly white. And then there were a few yellow ones. There were daffodils, which I didn't know anything about what daffodils were good for at all, or what the meaning of daffodil was. I found out later. Then there were buttercups. I think those were the primary yellow flowers. And she handed me, handed me in her hands instead of throwing at me, cinnamon sticks or some kind of spice sticks that were like thick incense sticks. And she grabbed like a hand of wild thyme and handed me the sprigs of wild thyme. That was the only, well, there were two kinds of vegetation or herb that she handed to me like from the meadow that she picked up from the ground. The other things, the other flowers, the flowering things, seemed to like be coming from her. Like she would like pull them up either like from an apron, or I'm not sure if she had, if I remember correctly, if she had a basket, but it seemed to be like coming from her physical form. So like she was pulling them up out of her, like out of her belly or out of her midsection. It was interesting. These things can really only happen in meditation and in dreams. So she would just like pull these things up out of herself, probably from an apron. There was probably an apron there, and toss them out on me, shower them out on me. Yeah, it was really interesting. And each of these flowers and other elements, the wild thyme, there was also crabgrass and sweetgrass that she pulled up out of the meadow. The herbs she pulled up like out of the ground, but the flowers she like produced from herself. Yeah, let me see. And then she gave me spice sticks, cinnamon sticks, or incense sticks. And they all meant different things, and I've been researching what they are. And a lot of them have to do with shadow work and the underworld and nourishing aspects of yourself that are that have been buried or are dead or hibernating, and bringing them up. So I have some more work to do, it seems. A lot of the herbs and other flowers were to do with, particularly the apple and the thyme were used in funereal rites and were believed to be foods that were fed to souls that have crossed over to sustain the dead. Um, yeah, and I have been thinking a lot about funeral rites and the process of dying in a pagan um, path, because really I don't expect to be around very long um, on this physical side of the earth. Um, I'm like just physically not doing so well. So there were some like underworld and shadow work aspects that I'm going to have to work on. Um, yeah, which is okay. Besides that, let me see. Okay, then I was in that meditative space all the time, and I went and gathered these things that she gave me. She also gave me some kind of nectar or honey that she called liquid sun. um, and it was like in a vial or pot, like small, and she gave it to me. And I'm still trying to figure out what that is about. She gave that to me, and then I started to go back into my little cottage area, my house, my home, and when I was in there, I actually saw an apple tree growing like in the middle of my cottage, which is fine, I guess, to have that there and be able to cultivate that inside my house. Makes sense. Let's see, besides that, I put the sprig of thyme in my kitchen area, and I put all the other flowers and stuff in vases and cleared up my space and had just flowers all over my cottage area. Of course, that's a space inside my mind. Um, so I did all of that, and then I walked to the back of my cottage, and there's a closet that I go into in the back of my cottage, and then I wake up here in my own backyard, and so that's how that ended. Um, you can tailor this any way you want to. I start in the cottage. You might have a different space that is your own private space in your mind. You may not feel that you need to. You might just appear in a meadow or a forest clearing or anywhere where there are wild flowers growing, and the goddess will present you with either a bouquet of flowers or individual flowers, or she may shower you in different blooms like she did with me, and they will generally represent aspects of the Maiden Goddess that you should incorporate into your life or that are an active aspect of your life right now. My lesson is that I have a lot of work to do preparing for this death process. And it wasn't bad. It was really, she danced and we laughed together, and it was very celebratory. Although a lot of the herbs and flowers are death related. So I had a lot of fun. And I'll probably be talking later about the significance of each of these flowers. But this video is also already getting very long. So I will say, all stars shine on your paths. There will be more videos probably coming Monday or Tuesday. I'm having to switch my internet service provider because I'm having issues with them. So I will have no connection over the weekend, so there won't be a video tomorrow. But I will have connection again next week. And as soon as I get connection, I will be uploading more videos, hopefully. So all stars shine on your paths, and I hope you enjoyed this meditation experience that I had, and hope that you try it out.